We are coming to you from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Bangladesh votes in the national elections. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina eyes fifth straight term as the main opposition boycotts the polls. Major milestone for the Indian Air Force, successfully lands C-130J Super Hercules aircraft in stealth mode on airstrip in Kargil at night for the first time. And Taiwan slams China over recent spate of Chinese balloons over the island, calls it psychological warfare ahead of key elections. Bangladesh, the nation of nearly 180 million people, is polling in the 12th national elections today. Voting will conclude at 10 GMT. Counting will start soon after the end of voting, with initial results expected by early Monday. About 120 million people will be deciding the fate of the candidates. There were no reports of violence on the voting day. However, nearly 800,000 security personnel, guards, are the polling booths, assisted by troops nationwide. And Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina cast her vote on Sunday's election. The polls is set to carry her Awami League-led alliance to a fourth straight term amid a boycott by the main opposition party. After voting, Sheikh Hasina addressed reporters and said that Bangladesh is a sovereign country and people are my power.
Our country is the sovereign country, sovereign independent country. Maybe it's a small country, but we have big population. So people's right, we have established people's democratic right and also right to their better life or their prosperous life. That is our main aim. We want to do that. So I'm trying my best to ensure that democracy should continue in this country.
Sheikh Hasina also expressed hope that her party would win the people's mandate, which would give it a fifth straight term.
Our country has been progressing, and how? We have more work to do in the coming times. I'm hoping that we will win this election and form the government. And with all the support from the people of our nation, we will be able to continue with the progressive work. We believe in ourselves and have faith in the people of Bangladesh.
And DD India correspondent Naval Sang Parmar joins us live from Dhaka. Naval Sang, how is polling coming along, and how is it advantage Sheikh Hasina as the main opposition BNP is boycotting the elections?
At the beginning, voting was slow, but subsequently, time passed, the voting get the momentum, and particularly in a rural area, a good number of people are coming for the vote. However, in the urban areas, still the voting percentage is slow. As per the Election Commission of Bangladesh data, 12 p.m., 12 and 10 a.m. in the morning or afternoon, the voting percentage was 18%. Which is comparatively slow, but they expressed that in the remaining half part or remaining 4 hours, voting percentage will increase. And visuals are coming that many people, including women, are lined up in front of polling booth and voting centers. So if they will give word that the voting percentage may increase in second half part of the day.
And Naval Sang, what are the implications of the main opposition party, the BNP, boycotting the elections?
Yes, as we know, the BNP has boycotted this election or 12th national election, and certainly it will benefit the Awami League. However, Awami League is getting tough competition from the independent candidates. Around 400 candidates are contesting independently, and majority of them, or we can say they are from the Awami League itself. So they are giving a tough fight to the Awami League candidates.
And Nawal Singh, can you give us some insight into the key issues dominating the public discourse in these elections?
Yes, well, this election, as a part of South Asia, Bangladesh is also facing some issues like unemployment as well as the price rise. And in last 2-3 years, after COVID, Bangladesh is facing crucial issues like inflation and unemployment. So these are the main issues.
Nawal Singh, thank you for joining us with those updates. Moving on, Taiwan has slammed Chinese balloons as safety threat and psychological warfare. Taiwan's defense ministry accused China on Saturday of threatening aviation safety and waging a psychological warfare on the island's people with the recent spate of balloons spotted near or over the island. This is days before key Taiwanese elections. The potential for China to use balloons for spying became a global issue in February when the United States shot down what it said was a Chinese surveillance balloon. China says the balloon was a civilian craft that accidentally drifted astray. Taiwan is on high alert for Chinese military and political activity ahead of the January 13th presidential and parliamentary elections. China has announced sanctions on 5 American defense-related companies in response to U.S. arms sales to Taiwan and U.S. sanctions on Chinese companies and individuals. The sanctions come ahead of Taiwan's January 13th presidential and parliamentary elections. The U.S. State Department last month approved $300 million sale of equipment to help maintain Taiwan's tactical information systems. A foreign ministry statement issued says sanctions will freeze any property the companies have in China and prohibit organizations and individuals in China from doing business with them. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with leaders of Turkey and Greece on Saturday during the opening stops of his latest West Asia diplomatic mission. Blinken says that West Asian nations need to use their influence to prevent an endless cycle of violence in the region. Blinken said it was in nobody's interest to escalate the conflict or allow it to spread beyond Gaza.
As we've said from day one, we have an intense focus on preventing this conflict from spreading. And a big part of the conversations we'll be having over the coming days with all of our allies and partners is looking at the steps that they can take, using the influence and ties that they have to do just that, to make sure that this conflict doesn't spread. Second, we'll be looking at what we can do to maximize the protection for civilians, maximize humanitarian assistance getting into them, and also to get hostages out of Gaza.
According to the U.S. officials, Blinken's focus is on increasing aid to the besieged Gaza Strip controlled by the Palestinian group Hamas. This marks Blinken's 4th regional tour since the conflict erupted with Hamas's attacks on Israel starting on October 7th. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Jordan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi on Sunday. During the meeting, the discussions were on the ongoing conflict in West Asia that took center stage. Secretary Blinken reiterated the United States' commitment to attain peace through establishment of a Palestinian state as part of a two-state solution. Blinken also appreciated Jordan for their role in providing aid to the conflict-hit region. Blinken emphasized on America's adherence to providing humanitarian assistance into Gaza. The Israeli Defense Forces have completed dismantling Hamas's military framework in northern Gaza. As per reports, around 8,000 terrorists are killed in that area, a military spokesperson informed on Saturday. The military also seized tens and thousands of weapons and millions of documents.
Fighting will continue during 2024. We are operating according to a plan to achieve the war's goals to dismantle Hamas in the north and the south.
Donald Trump downplayed his role in the siege of U.S. Capitol on third anniversary of the attack, arguing that those prosecuted for storming the building should be freed. Speaking at a campaign event in Clinton, Iowa, with the first Republican nominating contest little more than a week away, Trump called those jailed in the wake of the January 6, 2021 attack hostages and said they had been mistreated by the Biden administration. Meanwhile, speaking at the campaign rally in Newton, Iowa, Trump told his supporters that U.S. civil war could have been negotiated but did not explain how.
The Civil War was so fascinating, so horrible, but so fascinating. It was, I don't know, it was just different. I just find it, I'm so attracted to seeing it. So many mistakes were made. See, there was something I think could have been negotiated, to be honest with you. I think you could have negotiated that. All the people died, so many people died.
U.S. regulators on Saturday temporarily grounded 171 Boeing 737 MAX 9 jetliners for safety checks after emergency landing of the plane. The Federal Aviation Administration did not rule out further action as a probe began into the apparent structural failure. According to U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, no passengers were seated next to a cabin panel that blew out an Alaska Airlines jet, forcing an emergency landing.
Now, we're here investigating an accident, and yes, we've now determined, based on our definition of substantial damage, that it is an accident, not an incident. Fortunately, all passengers deplaned. We are not aware of any serious injuries. We are aware of reports of minor injuries. With that said, I imagine this was a pretty terrifying event. We don't often talk about psychological injury, but I'm sure that occurred here. So on behalf of the National Transportation Safety Board, I would like to extend our deepest sympathies to those that experienced what I imagine was truly terrifying.
Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has signed into law a bill making it easier for taxpayers to pay their taxes in a bid to increase revenue his government needs to boost infrastructure spending. Ease of Paying Taxes Act, the new law, simplifies procedures by allowing taxpayers to electronically or manually file tax returns with any authorized agent, bank or tax software provider. The new law also allows non-residents to register for these facilities in a bid to attract foreign investors in Philippines. The number of income tax return pages was also cut to 2 from 4 previously. After deadly 2024 Noto Peninsula earthquake, Japan is suffering through its aftermath. Reconstruction work in quake-affected Japanese villages are hindered due to severe damage and transportation disruptions. Due to this, residents are still forced to live in precarious conditions. Japan declared a state of emergency on Saturday in the central prefecture of Ishikawa. Moreover, as rescue operations are underway, aid workers in an earthquake-hit northern Japanese city also expressed concerns that falling temperatures and possible snowfall may exacerbate rescue and relief efforts. Japan's Prime Minister vowed to provide ceaseless support to areas devastated by the earthquake.
We are expecting heavy snow in the disaster region. In response to such a situation, we should take urgent measures such as deploying snowplows to ensure the safety of those affected by the disaster, including those in the isolated areas.
And some more news from across the world now. A glimmer of hope arrived in Japan's quake-hit Suzu city. In a miraculous effort, a woman in her 90s was rescued alive after being trapped for 124 hours in rubble of a collapsed house. The woman survived for more than 5 days after a 7.6 magnitude quake hit on Monday. 126 people have been confirmed dead. Several are still missing. Following a stormy weekend, a tornado ripped through South Florida, United States on Saturday. The strong gust hit buildings and power cables were downed. No injuries have been reported. And we're heading for a short break. Still to come on this edition of TT India Live. India's Commerce and Industry Minister highlights India's economic transformation at Tamil Nadu Global Investors Meet. In a historic and awe-inspiring event, Kerala's Sucheta Satish gets world record in UAE. We tell you the details. Welcome back. You're watching TT India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. In a major milestone for the Indian Air Force in terms of operational and troops deployment capabilities, the IAF Indian Air Force demonstrated groundbreaking feat by landing a C-130J Super Hercules aircraft on an airstrip in Kargil during night. For the first time, making this operation even more complex, the Indian Air Force employed terrain masking en route, a technique of low-altitude flight used by military aircraft to avoid enemy radar and infrared detection, enhancing the stealth and security of the aircraft and the troops. The night landing exercise was integrated with training mission of Garud Commandos, an elite special unit of Indian Air Force, enhancing operational coordination between its air and ground units located in northern Union Territory of Ladakh at an altitude of about 8,800 feet. Kargil holds immense strategic significance for India's defense capabilities as it has a close proximity with Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and China. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will leave on a two-day visit to London, United Kingdom on Monday. He will be accompanied by a high-level delegation of the Indian Ministry of Defence comprising senior officials from various departments of defence. During his visit, Rajnath Singh will hold a bilateral meeting with his UK counterpart, Secretary of State for Defence Grant Shapps. They are expected to discuss a wide range of defence, security and industrial cooperation issues. Rajnath Singh is also expected to call on UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and hold meeting with Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs, David Cameron. India's Commerce and Industry Minister highlighted India's transformative economic journey and said India's comprehensive development is the testimony to Prime Minister Modi's transformative leadership. The Commerce and Industry Minister was speaking at two-day Global Investors Meet 2024 in Tamil Nadu. The summit aims to propel the state towards achieving a 1 trillion economy by 2030.
Bharat's comprehensive development is a testimony to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi's transformative leadership and forward-thinking policies over the last 10 years. And I'm delighted that Tamil Nadu is an integral part of that progressive vision.
Indian government's nationwide outreach initiative, Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, aims to attain saturation of flagship schemes of the government by ensuring the benefits of the scheme reach the targeted beneficiaries. The Yatra reaches Sikar district of Indian state of Rajasthan. During the event, central government's welfare schemes and initiatives were highlighted. The villagers welcome Viksit Bharat van. Distinguished students from local schools and beneficiaries of panchayats were honoured. Free gas connections were also distributed under a flagship scheme of Ujjwala Yojana, which is to provide clean cooking fuel to poor households. India's Union Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs, Hardeep Singh Puri, in a press conference on Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra at Palakkad in South India's Kerala, expressed how the benefits of the schemes are reaching every citizen. Emphasizing on the present government's dedication to empowering people, he expressed happiness over meeting successful sisters who are now entrepreneurs.
The message is slowly but surely going down to every person. I have now addressed gatherings like this in many gram panchayats, and I find that the existing people who are beneficiaries, they are coming forward. Some of them did not even know that these are Modi ji schemes. They thought that they had come from some other source. Slowly we are trying to ensure that benefits of all the scheme go to all the entitled people. I'm very happy. Today there's a lot of excitement even before the drone demonstration has been done. Drone demonstration will take place now. Now, also, I was very happy to meet a lot of very successful sisters who are now entrepreneurs. One yesterday who is running a Jan Aushadhi Kendra, and she has a very good turnover. She's now a successful business person thanks to Modi ji's scheme. Another lady who's running self-help groups. Another lady whose sister who's running beauty parlors. She tells me that after she got a loan of 2.5 lakhs, Mudra loan, today she's running a successful business parlor and she's making more than 4,000 rupees a day. So we are not looking at 2 crore, Lakhpati Didis. Many of these will be Crorepati Didis also.
And we return to our big story in a major milestone for the Indian Air Force in terms of operational and troops deployment capabilities. The force demonstrated a groundbreaking feat of landing a C-130J Super Hercules aircraft on an airstrip in Kargil during night for the first time. DD India correspondent Akshay Dongare is joining us from Delhi with more updates. Akshay, simplify for us how challenging is landing a big aircraft like C-130J at night, and what is the operational significance of it?
Well, Shubhendu, first of all, we have to understand that the terrain of Kargil, it is a hilly area where flying a regular aircraft is also challenging, and flying an aircraft with specific areas like the airstrip where the aircraft was landed in stealth mode, which means that the lights of the aircraft had to be shut down. It was flying very close to the terrain to ensure the terrain masking method that is employed by the militaries across the world, especially the most significantly advanced aircrafts and air forces across the world, to ensure that they are not caught in the radar and they can fly in stealth mode. So first thing is that. However, we have to understand that landing at night in an area like Kargil itself is a challenge, and landing it in a terrain masking mode, in fact, increases the complexity of such operations, and it is done to ensure that in a war-like situation, the aircraft and the troops can safely travel and not get caught in the enemy radars and avoid detection by infrared the infrared machines that the enemies at times have as well, to ensure that the safety of troops remain intact, especially when there are chances of attacks happening on the aircraft and the troops.
Actually, a little more on the terrain masking technique that you mentioned that is employed in this operation that sort of amplifies the stealth capabilities of the operation.
Well, as far as the radar capabilities are concerned, it works by returning the wavelengths of the radar to the machines, and to ensure that the aircraft doesn't get into the way of radar. The aircraft is flown very close to the terrain, very close to the surface of the land, be it mountains or the ground. So the aircraft flies too close to the ground, and that too at night is an increased challenge. So terrain masking is also called earth napping, which means that the aircraft will be flying very close to the ground to avoid enemy detection and avoid radar detection, and by turning off the lights of the aircraft, it is not caught in the radars or the infrared systems of the enemy. So to do that is to ensure the safety of the troops, like we have been talking about. And as far as this entire operation is concerned, it was part of the Garu training exercise, which is an elite special unit of the Indian Air Force. These are commandos that can be deployed in war-like situation behind the enemy lines And to do that, the aircraft has to avoid detection by the radar. So that is why this technique was deployed, and this was for the first time that in an area like Kargil, the aircraft had landed during night, and that too with the complexity, with the complex operation like terrain masking. In fact, goes on to show that how the Indian Air Force is in fact enhancing its operational capabilities and preparing for any kind of operation that may be required, be it the peacetime or war-like situation.
Akshay, thank you for those updates. Sucheta Satish, an 18-year-old Indian singer and Guinness World Record holder from India, has set world record for singing in 140 languages at a climate concert in UAE's Dubai. Here's more.
In a historic and awe-inspiring event, Sucheta Satish, hailing from Kerala, from India, has etched her name in the annals of music history by setting a new world record for singing in the most languages during a single concert. The Guinness Book of World Records officially attested to this feat earlier this week. The remarkable achievement took place at the Indian Consulate Auditorium in Dubai, UAE.
By the grace of God, I'm very happy and blessed to have set a new Guinness World Record for the most languages sung in a concert by singing in 140 languages, which included 101 foreign languages and 39 Indian languages in 9 hours in my concert for climate on the 24th of November 2023.
Sucheta's groundbreaking performance was part of a concert for climate, a unique initiative aimed at raising awareness about the critical issue of climate change. The talented artist delivered an astounding rendition of songs in an unprecedented 140 languages, captivating the audience with her musical prowess and a powerful message.
As a multilingual musician whose motto is Music Beyond Borders, I thought of what I could do to spread awareness about climate preservation, and that's how we came up with this concert. Though I can presently sing in 150 languages, the number 140 was chosen as a symbolic representation of the 140 nation heads who had been invited to the UAE for the COP summit.
Sucheta Satish's record-breaking achievement not only establishes her as a musical virtuoso, but also emphasizes the power of music as a universal language to convey important messages. With inputs from Vinod Kumar, UAE for DD India.
Remarkable talent. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.